course, we had the D.C. madam on, thanks to him giving us her contact. He knew her well when she had a lot of documents and things and was going to try to give them to her mother. She was found dead at her mother's house. I had the condo manager on who she was good friends with, saying she was being followed. She had to get these documents to her mother. They killed her at the house, hung her in the shed, called it a suicide, put out a fake letter that wasn't even her handwriting. It was not even something a 10-year-old could do a better job of. We have to take this serious because Wayne is a consultant, for international television programs like RT. Wayne is, gaining in stature, and he's always had a big effect. Anytime you watch a national security hearing, you'll see Wayne in the background reporting on it. He also gives briefings at the National Press Club. And he spent months off and on in Chicago and other areas of the country investigating all these mafia ties that are public with Obama. And he's brought out some of that info. Wayne, with these new threats, first tell us about the threats through your credible sources, reports that you might even leave the country, what's happening there, and then B, whatever data you got for all of us here, and for your own safety, as I told the D.C. madam, and she didn't listen, and I know you're a smart guy, whatever you found out, I know you like to double, triple check and vet everything, but whatever it is you found out in Chicago that you haven't been ready to report yet because you're still digging, you better get it out now, or we all know what's going to happen. And then C, I want to get you on record saying you're not planning to commit suicide or go swimming with lead shoes.
Well, yes. The report that I received was from a very credible source. Without getting into identifying who, I can say it was a source with a very large foreign newspaper here in Washington. His information came from his contacts in his embassy, which are largely intelligence contacts. The country in question is an ally of the United States, so it's not Russia or China or anything like that. And then this threat was verified by another source that I had within the State Department who said, look, I don't like what you write, but I know, it's true, but you have to understand you're a marked man. Now, the other threat specifically said the people in the White House want to kill you. And I said, well, yeah. Yeah, there are people who would like to. I said, is that figurative? He said, no, it's literal. And I had to take that threat seriously because of the stature.
Okay, Wayne, let me interrupt you because your Skype video and audio was breaking up a bit. Go back 60 seconds. Go over both the sources and the particular source with them saying the White House literally wants to kill you. Repeat that.
Yes, what I heard was the White House, they want to kill you. I said, oh, is that figurative? He said, no, it's literal. He said they mean it. And I've had threats before, but I took this one rather seriously. And then I go back and I look at what the Nixon administration tried to do with Jack Anderson. They did try to kill him. It's documented. They were going to poison him. But he was a teetotaling Mormon. They couldn't do that. They were talking about, staging a car accident where he would be incinerated in his car. They also tried to cause problems between him and his wife by putting out word that Anderson was gay. And of course,
yeah, they've had Glenn Beck doing that to me now, just completely ridiculous with no evidence. So I don't care; it's not true. They've also liked to call my wife women, saying I've gotten them pregnant. Then when she doesn't buy it, a guy comes on the line and threatens her. Do you think? I want to get more into your story, but it came out last year that I'm number 49 of 50 people on the White House enemies list. No, 43. Should I be concerned, Wayne?
Well, I think we all have to be concerned because we have a record of what the Nixon administration, G. Gordon Liddy, Charles Colson, and E. Howard Hunt, who actually Hunt was not big on the idea of taking out Anderson, and even J. Edgar Hoover thought that was a crazy idea. But we have, because there is a precedent that has been set, and we have to take it seriously. And there's another issue. I've been told that how they deal with recalcitrant journalists and also whistleblowers, they have a playbook they use. Step one is to isolate the target. Now, that is, try to drive a wedge between the target and his friends and family. Number two, they try to take the target out of the public eye. getting their bylines out of publications, getting their name off out of the chyrons on the television programs. And three, then they put the financial screws to you. And when that stage is set, then they, they say, well, the person was despondent and committed suicide. We've seen that with Danny Casolaro, a journalist who was whacked in West Virginia 91.
Gary Webb, who wrote the Pulitzer Prize-winning book, shotgunned him twice in the head. J.H.
Hatfield, who was the author of Fortunate Son about Bush. So this is their game plan. But I will say on your program, just as my friend Gene Palfrey said, I do not have any plans to commit suicide. I do have plans to leave the country for some extended period of time. One of the things I'm going to do is complete the book on Obama and the CIA. And all I'll say is I'll be backtracking in some of the places where he lived when he was younger.
Okay, do you think that's what's making them angry at you?
Well, what I understand, obviously the stuff about Chicago they like, but what they really do not like is the stuff that I've been writing about the background of Obama and his family with the CIA. That's something that they don't want to go there. They're more than happy to go, see the birth certificate stuff out there. But let's face it, the rifling of Obama in February of 08 during the primary season they were after his passport records, not his birth records. And there's a reason why they were after the passport records is because what those passport records will show.
All right, Wayne, this is too important, and your Skype just broke up for another minute and was almost unintelligible. I want you to repeat what you just said. If it continues to break up, we're going to put you on hold and call your cell phone or home phone back. Okay. It's great to have the video, but we need to be able to hear the audio. So again, if I give the word in a minute, we're going to go ahead and call your cell. So get that ready, guys. Going back here, I want to retrace this. Specifically, sounds like the British consulate from what you've said, but I know you don't want to go there. I'm just guessing, gave you a warning that first came through a major newspaper. Then you got another warning from inside the State Department that, no, they want you dead. I mean, was that person basically threatening them for you, or were they just had it leaked to them knowing that they would tell you?
The source at the embassy wanted the information to be passed to me, and it was not the British. It was an ally, but not the British.
Okay, we had you faded down again there at the start. Start over slowly. Go over exactly, not who the sources are, but basically what type of sector they came from and what they said specifically.
Well, the source said, look, they want to kill you. I said, are they being figurative? He said, no, literal. The information was passed by an embassy here of an allied country, and it was passed to this high-ranking journalist with a very large newspaper to get the information to me.
And what did you get from the U.S. State Department?
I had a source tell me that there's a State Department source said, look, we don't like what you write. I don't like what you write, but I know it's true, and you need to know that you have been marked. That was the words used.
Now, you said you don't plan to commit suicide anytime soon. Be clear, you will never commit suicide. It's not entered your head.
No, not at all. I would, I'm going to leave the country for some period of time to work on this book and just check things out abroad. But no, suicide is not in the cards whatsoever.
Wayne, so you're going to be traveling, to Indonesia, to Africa, to Pakistan, to Occidental California to look into Obama?
Well, as many places as my funds will allow. There are some leads in some of these locations that I want to track down and see if I can actually get some actual documentation for the book that hopefully I can get this out as we're getting into the campaign season. This should have been done in 08, of course.
Well, that's probably while they're mad at you, because I know for a while you've already been working on this book. You've been in Chicago, you've been in Florida, you've been in Texas, you've been all over California. I I know you privately told me 3 or 4 months ago that you were, getting some grapevine threats over the fact that you spent time in Chicago. I mean, again, has anybody telegraphed to you what it is they don't like? You're saying it's mainly the Obama CIA history.
It's mainly the Obama CIA history. Obviously, they're not too pleased with the fact that I've been in a lot of contact with Larry Sinclair, who also wrote a book about the escapades in Chicago. And, of course, he did attempt to take his own life, but some folks were able to save him. And he's now tied up with this court battle over the contents, a libel suit over the contents of his book. So we know that the White House likes to play hardball on people who delve too much into Obama and his family's background.
Well, now we hear this sister that nobody's ever heard about come out and say, sure, he lived in Hawaii, but regardless of what really happened with Kenya and his grandmother saying he was born there, and his wife in 2 speeches a few years ago saying we traveled back to his home country, of Kenya where he was born, we know he gave up his citizenship in Indonesia and took the name of Barry Soetoro.
Right. We also know that he had a stepsister in Indonesia who died a few years ago. And there's very little information on what caused her death. She was about the same age as Obama, so it wasn't, something from old age or something like that. But there's a lot of question marks about him. And I just think writing the book here with this sort of Damocles hanging over my head, for peace of mind, I need to complete this book.
Well, you're a big security computer expert, a journalist, a national security expert, a leading one. I'm a layman, but explain to me. It sounds like you're going out of the frying pan into the oven or the fire, leaving the U.S. I mean, the long arm of the corporate mafia. You think you're going to be safer ferreting around looking for his history in these countries?
Well, I think you might think that when you go abroad that you might be subject to the CIA or something, but I think there's a better support network of people abroad who understand what's going on inside the United States, who are more than willing to take the extra measure to provide the security necessary because they know the truth. I mean,
so you're tipping your hand here. You're saying you've got countries, embassy people, that you're going to go to a country where you're going to be provided security.
Yes. Yeah, essentially, yes. I wouldn't be going into these countries if I didn't have a support network there that's already basically invited me to come and track down some of these leads.
Well, buddy, we hope we get to interview you in the future, because I remember warning the D.C. Madam Palfrey here on this show. And this isn't a joke, folks. I risk my life every day. I passed the point of no return a long time ago. I'm committed to this. So are you. I hope listeners understand this is real. I mean, how many people connected to exposing Clinton, how many police investigators, private investigators, got Arkansited during the Clinton administration?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and it's all, like I said, started with the Nixon administration and their enemies list. Actually, it's well documented they were trying to kill Anderson. We know that they've gone after other journalists as well, not killing them, but certainly had them fired from their jobs. We have ample evidence of that, and quite recently ample evidence of that. And I think anytime a threat like that is conveyed from White House sources, it just has to be taken seriously. It's not something like, oh, well, they must be kidding or they're exaggerating. No, the history of this doesn't suggest that they are kidding.
What about public letters to Congress and the White House, putting them on notice that your sources, journalistic sources of the highest caliber, have warned you about this, so that there's even more of a public record?
Well, I mean, Congress, garbage in, it's a black hole. The stuff goes in there, nothing ever comes out. The other thing I want to state, too, is it's getting increasingly difficult covering Washington, D.C. because my sources are drying up faster than a puddle in the Sahara Desert. They're just fearful of being exposed.
Well, that's because the Justice Department has been... Yeah, the Justice Department's been publicly burning mild whistleblowers.
Right. We have Thomas Drake, the former NSA official, now being charged under the Espionage Act for providing unclassified information to the Baltimore Sun. Only the fourth such case since the act was enacted during World War I. In this case, Obama's worse than Bush. Believe it or not, when it comes to how they're handling whistleblowers, there's a fear. Has set in here in Washington. I have sources drying up left and right. They don't want to talk anymore because they see what happens to some of these other people. They were concerned during Bush, but they were much more willing to talk during the Bush administration, unlike this one.